What if I told you that the sluggishness you've been feeling, the loss of that spark in your step, the dullness in your mood, or the quiet erosion of confidence in your own body, might not be about aging at all? What if the true cause was something almost too simple to believe? Something so ordinary that it's likely sitting just a few feet from you right now, nestled away in a kitchen cabinet. I'm talking about baking soda. Yes, that same humble white powder you probably use to deodorize your fridge or bake cookies could very well hold the key to revitalizing your energy, reigniting your glow, and even rebuilding the kind of bedroom confidence many thought was gone, forever after 60. This isn't a wild theory or wishful thinking. It's grounded in real biological science, truths that most people, especially older adults, are never taught. And once you understand what's going on beneath the surface of your own body, you'll see why this overlooked household staple deserves a second look. Now, I'm not a guru or a salesman. I'm someone who's spent decades in the field of men's health, sitting across from patients of all walks of life, hearing their concerns, digging into the root causes of their discomforts, and helping them find ways to restore their energy, sharpness, and clarity without quick-fix gimmicks or shame. And if there's one thing that experience has taught me, it's this: the most powerful solutions are often the simplest ones. Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up after a full night's sleep, only to feel like you barely rested at all? Looked in the mirror and noticed your skin looked a little grayer, your eyes a little duller, felt like your strength just didn't stretch as far as it used to? You're not alone. In fact, this quiet change, this fading of vitality, is something I hear about every single week. And yet most people assume it's just aging, the body breaking down, the inevitable toll of time. But here's the truth. It's not just about getting older. It's about what's happening inside your body that determines how you feel, how you heal, how you think, and even how you perform. Here's what happens. As we age, our internal environment subtly shifts. The body becomes more acidic. Inflammation builds. Waste products that used to be flushed out easily begin to accumulate. Your kidneys might slow down just a bit. Your blood might thicken slightly, and over time that starts to affect everything. Circulation suffers. Oxygen delivery to muscles and organs drops. And slowly but surely, that radiant sense of vitality fades. Not because of age, but because of imbalance. I remember one of my patients, Harold. He was 67, a retired contractor, and he came in looking frustrated. "Doc, I used to wake up feeling electric," he told me. "I'd hop out of bed, pour my coffee, and just go. Now it's like I'm stuck in molasses, even after 8 hours of sleep." His tests all came back normal, no major red flags. But you and I both know when something's off in your body, you feel it. And Harold felt it. He wasn't lazy or depressed or falling apart. His body was out of balance, and we found that balance again, not with something exotic or expensive, but with a teaspoon of something so ordinary most people never give it a second thought: baking soda. Once you understand the chemistry of how this works, it starts to make perfect sense, because baking soda isn't just for cleaning sinks or baking cookies. Used correctly, it acts as a powerful alkalizing agent, which means it helps bring your body back toward a more neutral, balanced pH. And why does that matter? Because when your internal environment becomes too acidic, all sorts of subtle but serious issues start to creep in. Your energy drops, your joints feel stiffer, your circulation slows, inflammation climbs, and over time, your body becomes less efficient at doing the things it was designed to do, things like healing, moving, thinking, and yes, even performing sexually. It's not magic. It's not a miracle. It's basic biology. The more balanced your internal chemistry, the more efficiently your blood flows, your muscles recover, your brain functions, and your skin glows. One patient, Raymond, started using a small daily dose of baking soda and came back 2 weeks later with a quiet smile on his face. "I don't know what it is," he said, "but I feel like someone turned the lights back on." That's what we're talking about here. Not overnight miracles, but gentle, steady, real support for the systems that keep you alive and well. Because here's something most people forget. Your circulation is your lifeline. If your blood isn't moving freely, if it's not reaching the small vessels in your brain, your skin, your muscles, your heart, or yes, even your more intimate areas, then Nothing else you're doing really matters. All the healthy food, the supplements, the gym sessions, they won't reach their full potential if your blood can't deliver nutrients efficiently, and circulation is one of the most overlooked areas of health as we age. So many people over 60 start noticing little things: cold hands and feet, slower healing, less energy, reduced interest in intimacy, and they chalk it up to just getting older. But in reality, what they're experiencing is the cumulative effect of years of subtle blockages, sluggish blood flow, and internal inflammation. And guess what? Baking soda can help clear those pathways. It can support nitric oxide production, molecule that helps blood vessels stay relaxed and flexible. It's like giving your circulatory system a soft reset. Another patient of mine, George, 71, had been complaining about low energy and cold limbs. We added baking soda to his routine, not every day, just a few times a week, and within days, he told me, it's like someone opened the valve again. That's the kind of change we're talking about. Not a marketing gimmick, but real biology responding to a simple shift in chemistry. And this circulation support doesn't just show up in energy and warmth. It shows up where it matters most for many men: the bedroom. Sexual health is one of those topics that carries so much quiet shame for older men. They don't want to talk about it, but they feel it. And here's the honest truth. In many cases, the issue isn't hormones. It's blood flow. And blood flow is something you can support naturally. Yes, even with something as humble as baking soda. But the benefits don't stop there. Let's talk about muscles. As we age, our ability to recover from physical exertion slows down. You go for a walk or do light yard work and your legs feel tight, sore, or exhausted afterward. That's not because you're weak. It's because acid builds up in aging muscles faster and stays there longer. That acid is lactic acid, the same stuff that makes your muscles burn when you push yourself. Baking soda, as it turns out, has a remarkable ability to buffer that acid. It helps your muscles flush it out faster, which means you can recover faster, move easier, feel stronger. James, a retired firefighter in his late 60s, told me he had to cut his morning walk short every day because of cramping. We introduced a baking soda routine, and within a week he made it through the whole park loop without stopping. First time in months, he said. Felt amazing. That's what I mean by reclaiming your confidence. When your body starts saying yes again, your mind follows. And what about brain fog? That feeling of walking into a room and forgetting why you're there, or struggling to recall names or simple words. People call it senior moments and laugh it off, but I see the concern in their eyes. It's not about vanity. It's about wanting to feel present in your life. Once again, the link is blood flow. Your brain is hungry for oxygen. If your blood is too acidic or too sluggish, your brain starves. Not dramatically, but subtly, and that's when the fog sets in. But support your pH, ease your circulation, and suddenly the fog begins to lift. 1. One of my patients, Leonard, a retired teacher, said it best. It felt like I could think clearly again. Like my brain got a deep breath. That's the power of rebalancing your internal environment. And while we're here, let's not ignore one of the most sensitive, most overlooked systems in the body. A system that every man relies on, but few want to talk about: the blood vessels that supply the penis. Over time, those tiny vessels can become narrowed, inflamed, or even partially blocked. And that's where performance issues begin. Again, not because of age. Because of poor blood flow. Baking soda helps by reducing acidity and inflammation, allowing blood to move more freely, even to those areas. One patient, Walter, said it wasn't just about performance, it was about getting his dignity back. That's the kind of transformation that matters. Quiet, deep, life-changing. This is just the beginning. If you're ready, say continue, and I'll give you part 2, where we'll explore how to use baking soda safely, what common mistakes to avoid, and how to build a simple 7-day protocol that helps your body reclaim its balance without stress or overwhelm. So now that you've seen the undeniable link between your body's chemistry and how you feel, the next logical step is understanding how to safely introduce baking soda into your routine. Because let's be honest, just because something is natural or readily available doesn't mean it's foolproof. In fact, I've seen more than a few people dive in too fast, overdo it, and end up thinking the remedy doesn't work, or worse, that it backfired. That's not the fault of baking soda. That's the fault of not having the right information. Let's fix that. The first thing I tell my patients is this: with any powerful remedy, especially one that affects your body's internal environment, less is often more. There's no need to go full throttle from day one. In fact, doing so can overwhelm your digestive system or throw off your sodium balance. Think of it like watering a dry plant. You don't dump a gallon on it all at once. You give it a little, then you wait, and you give it a little more. Your body deserves that same kind of care. The most effective way to begin is with a simple mix. Half a teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a glass of room-temperature water. Drink it on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning, or at least a couple of hours after a meal. This helps your body absorb it more easily and ensures it can do its work without interference. You don't need to do this every day. Start with 3 to 4 times a week. Give your body space to respond, adjust, and adapt. Remember, this isn't about blasting your system, it's about restoring balance, and the results? They don't always come with fireworks. This isn't like flipping a switch, it's more like slowly drawing back the curtain on a window that's been clouded for years. A little more energy, a bit more clarity, skin that doesn't look so tired. That's how real change begins: subtle, steady, sustainable. Now that's internal use, but there are also incredibly gentle, effective external methods that can support your body just as powerfully. Let's talk about those. One of my favorite recommendations, especially for those dealing with joint stiffness or fatigue in the legs and feet, is a warm baking soda foot soak. Just a tablespoon in a small tub of warm water. Soak your feet for 15 to 20 minutes before bed. Why does this work? Because your skin is not just a barrier, it's also a channel. Toxins can be released through the pores, and baking soda helps draw out impurities while relaxing the body. People tell me they sleep better, wake up with less swelling, and feel more rested overall. And it's so simple. No supplements, no gadgets, just warm water and one natural ingredient. Another underrated use: skin clarity. I've had patients in their 60s and 70s who noticed their complexion had become dull, patchy, or uneven. They tried every lotion and serum, only to feel frustrated. And then they tried something different: a baking soda facial rinse. Not a scrub, no, rough exfoliating. Just a soft paste made with water and a pinch of baking soda, gently massaged onto the face and rinsed clean. Within days, many noticed their skin looked brighter, smoother, and more alive. That's because baking soda helps neutralize acidity, not just internally but topically, balancing the skin's pH and gently clearing out buildup. These methods are safe, but they only work when used with care. That brings us to one of the most important parts of this entire conversation: what not to do. Let's be honest, whenever a natural remedy shows promise, people tend to take it to extremes. They think, if a little is good, a lot must be better. That's a dangerous mindset, because even though baking soda is gentle, it still has a real, measurable effect on your body's chemistry. It can alter your sodium levels, change your stomach's acidity, and even stress your kidneys if you're not careful. The first big mistake: overuse. Some folks hear about the benefits and immediately start taking it every single morning and evening. That's not smart. I had a patient, Robert, who was so eager to feel better that he began doing just that. Twice a day, every day. Within a week, he came back complaining of bloating, fatigue, and general discomfort. We cut it back to 3 times a week, and the difference was almost immediate. His digestion calmed down, his energy came back, and he even started sleeping better. The second mistake: not taking breaks. Your body doesn't need to be constantly adjusted. What it needs is rhythm, periods of support, followed by periods of rest. That's how true healing happens. I always recommend cycles. A few days on, then a few days off. Just like exercise, your cells need time to process the changes and reset. Third mistake, and this one's important: ignoring your medications. If you're already taking drugs for blood pressure, kidney function, or acid reflux, adding baking Soda to the mix without talking to your doctor can cause complications. Not because baking soda is toxic, but because it's powerful. It can reduce the effectiveness of certain medications or interfere with how your body absorbs them. So always, and I mean always, get your doctor's input if you're on prescriptions. And one final note, not all baking soda is created equal. You want to use food-grade, aluminum-free baking soda. It's pure, simple, and safe for internal use. Skip the industrial stuff. Your body deserves better. All right? Now that you know how to use baking soda wisely, let's take things one step further. Because the best transformations don't come from isolated fixes. They come from routines, gentle, consistent, mindful rhythms that work with your body instead of against it. That's why I created a simple 7-day protocol, a low-stress, high-impact plan that's helped many of my patients rediscover their spark. Here's how it works. It's not a strict regimen or a rigid schedule. It's a flow, designed to fit naturally into your mornings, helping you start each day with intention and clarity. Day 1. Start with half a teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of room-temperature water. Drink it slowly before breakfast. Then, spend 5 minutes moving your body, gentle stretching, a short walk, anything to get your blood flowing. Day 2. No baking soda. Instead, soak your feet in warm water with a tablespoon of baking soda for 20 minutes before bed. Breathe deeply while you soak. Let go of tension. Visualize your body releasing what it no longer needs. Day 3. Another morning dose. This time, after drinking, spend 5 minutes doing a quiet breathing exercise. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Do this for 5 minutes to support oxygen flow. Day 4. Rest day. No baking soda. Just focus on hydration, light movement, and maybe a face rinse if your skin needs it. Day 5. Return to your morning dose. Before you drink, say something kind to yourself. Yes, really. Something like, my body is strong, I'm healing. That mindset shift, it matters more than you think. Day 6. Another foot soak. This time, light a candle or play calming music. Turn the moment into a small ritual, because when you associate healing with comfort, your body responds faster. Day 7. Finish with your morning dose. Then write down 3 things you're grateful for. Anything. Your breath, your legs, a favorite song. Gratitude lowers inflammation. It literally changes your chemistry. This 7-day flow isn't about rules. It's about reconnection to your body, to your breath, to your sense of power. And once you've completed it, you can repeat it or adapt it to your own rhythm. The key is to listen, respond, and treat your body like a friend, not a problem, to fix. Because here's what I've learned after decades of working with men and women over 60. The body is always trying to come back into balance, always. You just have to give it the right support and the right mindset. Speaking of mindset, there's one final piece to this puzzle that we haven't talked about yet, and it might just be the most important of all. It's not something you can swallow or soak in. You won't find it on a label. But it's the one thing that determines whether all of this, baking soda, blood flow, breathing exercises, better mornings, actually sticks. It's time to talk about something that gets swept under the rug too often, especially for those of us who've passed 60 and have grown used to the silence. That unspoken weight, that private feeling you can't quite name but always feel. It's shame, and it's time we call it what it is, so we can finally release it. Here's the truth. Many of the men and women I've worked with over the years didn't just lose their energy or their clarity, they lost their confidence. Not in big, dramatic ways, in small, silent ones. A little less eye contact, a little more hesitation, avoiding mirrors, dodging conversations about health, performance, aging, and when I asked why, their answers almost always pointed to something deeper than just physical decline. They said things like, I don't feel like myself anymore, or I don't want to admit that I'm slowing down, or I used to feel proud of my body, now I just feel like I'm falling apart. That last one hits hard, because it's not about vanity, it's about identity, about being in a body that once made you feel unstoppable and now feels foreign, fragile, like it betrayed you somehow. But here's what I tell every person who's ever said those words to me. Your body hasn't betrayed you. It's been carrying you, protecting, you surviving for you, and now it's asking for a little help in return, not punishment, not judgment, help. And the first step? Letting go of the shame. Because shame makes us hide, it makes us shrink, it tells us that we're less than, that we're behind, that we've lost something we'll never get back. And when we believe that, we stop trying, we stop caring, we give up our power and with it our potential. I've seen it again and again. Men who used to be leaders in their careers now too embarrassed to talk about their fatigue. Women who once glowed with confidence, now avoiding intimacy because they feel too old. People stopping their favorite hobbies, turning down invitations, disappearing from their own lives, not because they have to, but because they've come to believe that aging means fading. Let me be clear. Aging is inevitable. But fading? That's optional. Because here's what shame doesn't want you to know. Your body is still capable of incredible things. Healing, strength, pleasure, power. You just have to show up for it. You have to stop apologizing for the ways it's changed and start celebrating the fact that it's still here, still working, still waiting for you to reconnect. That's what baking soda is really about. It's not about the powder itself. It's about the message it sends, that your body deserves attention. That healing can be simple. That vitality isn't gone.